Comment, like, subscribe. The bell keeps you notified. It helps the show thrive. Music is one of those things that is pretty much universally adored, from classical to rock and roll to hip hop to everything in between. Music doesn't come from nowhere, however. Most songs and pieces of music are painstakingly written and created by either a single person or a group of people playing different instruments. These groups of musicians are called a band. Music bands are pretty darn popular, to say the least. I think we've all had dreams of being in a cool band at some point in our life. Many bands have gone on to become icons in music and on a global stage. Of course, bands aren't simply called things like Band 346 or Band 74. They all have interesting names. A band's name is such a key part of their image and will be seen on posters, records, and merch for the band. So it has to be a cool, unique name that helps present your music to your audience. Band names come from a huge variety of places, and each one tends to have a unique story behind it. So in this video, we're going to be looking at how 5 beloved bands got their names, and these etymologies are coming to you from my book, The Origin of Names, Words and Everything in Between, Volume 2. With the holidays fast approaching, you may be looking for gifts for loved ones or even thinking of something to tell your family you want as a gift. Might I suggest not only this book but its forebearer too, The Origin of Names, Words and Everything in Between. Together, these two books contain hundreds of word origins and etymologies, all written in an easy to read and easy to understand way and broken into fun chapters like countries or bodies of water or animals or even toys and games. The content of this video unsurprisingly comes from the bands chapter in volume 2, so if you know someone who is really into etymology, fun facts or trivia, then these two books would make the perfect present for them. And if that person is you, then why not ask for them yourself? They're available everywhere you can buy books from in all major formats, and they'll be linked down below. I'd recommend buying them directly through the publisher, who are currently having a site-wide 30% off sale. Anyway, if that spiel hasn't tempted you, maybe this extract from the book, explaining how 5 bands got their names, will. Who would have thought that the name of an insect perhaps most closely associated with rolling up balls of dung would have become synonymous with the world's most popular band? Well, that isn't entirely the case, as the insect is spelt B-E-E-T-L-E, while the band spelled theirs B-E-A-T-L-E-S. Despite being one of the world's most talked about and heavily researched bands, we aren't exactly sure how that name came about. There seems to be all different ideas as to how they ended up with this name. It's worth noting that the band's original name was the Quarrymen, as when they started playing, John Lennon was at Quarry Bank High School. Obviously, they didn't keep this name for too long though. John Lennon was asked in an interview about the name, and fed up with constantly being asked this question, he responded by saying that in a dream, a man in a flaming pie appeared to him and said, "From this day, you are the Beatles with an A." While this answer comes straight from the source, most people can't help but feel Lennon was being just a tad silly with this reply. A more realistic answer gives the band's former drummer Peter Sutcliffe the honour of coining the name, saying that the name Beatles was a play of Buddy Holly's Mini Beast themed backing band, the Crickets. For a spell, they were the Silver Beatles. How have they dropped the silver in their name and just went with Beatles? But why the different spelling? Well, we aren't sure whose idea that was exactly, but regardless of who thought of it, we know why they thought of it. It's a pun. The Beatles made music, aka beats. That's why they went with that spelling of the name. It's pretty obvious, but I've met people who haven't realised this themselves. Numbers can be names too, you know. It seems like an odd claim at first, but the band Blink-182 are a clear example of how this came to be. Though, why these numbers? And why Blink exactly? Well, we don't seem to be too sure. Originally the band was just called Blink, though I haven't found a reason as to why they called themselves Blink. It's just a good name, I imagine. In fact, it's such a good band name that I was already taken. An Irish techno band were using the name Blink already, and the band were told they would have to use a different name. Instead of thinking of a different name entirely, they just slapped 182 to the end of their name and called it a day. It seems that these numbers have caused quite an uproar over the years though. People debate over what these numbers mean. The band insists they were randomly chosen, but they have also made up other fun stories. Most noticeably, the band former frontman claimed that 182 is the amount of times Al Pacino said the F word in the movie Scarface. People have also debated how you say it. Is it 182, 182, 182, or 182? That is another mystery revolving around this name. This girl group that, as well as having many great hits, gave the world the megastar of Beyoncé knows. Destiny's Child wasn't always their name, however. In the beginning, they had the far more generic name of Girls Time. I imagine that this name came about simply due to the fact they were a female-centric band. Luckily, however, this name didn't stick around. Something I find so interesting about the name Destiny's Child is that possessive S. Who is Destiny? Who is their child? Why is the band named after this kid? Well, it seems that Destiny isn't supposed to be anyone's actual name, though I hope someone is a big enough fan of the band that they have forced one of their parents to change their name to Destiny so they could literally be Destiny's Child. Speaking of parents, however, it seems this name came to be thanks to Beyoncé's mother, Tina Knowles. She supposedly suggested the name Destiny after seeing it in the Bible. The only issue, however, is that they were unable to trademark the name of Destiny. They still wanted to use that name but had to make it a tad more unique. This is when the word child came into the mix too. I guess they could have just gone with the name Destiny Child, which is quite a provocative name unto itself. However, making it possessive gave the name more weight. Beyoncé has stated in an interview that the name is like the rebirth of Destiny, which is highly provocative too. The rebirth of Destiny, the child of Destiny, Destiny's Child. While most well known for a certain Christmas song, the Pogues were a band with many great hits under their belt. While the band was formed in London and their lead singer was born in Kent, they have deep Celtic roots, so much in fact that they are considered one of the biggest bands in the Celtic punk genre of music. Unsurprisingly, this means that the band's name is from Celtic origins too, though Scottish Gaelic surprisingly enough, not Irish Gaelic despite the band being so heavily linked with the Emerald Isles. The band's original name was Pogue Mahone, which stuck from 1982 to 1984. They couldn't keep this name, however, as someone asked them to change it. That someone being the BBC. As the band grew more popular, the BBC started playing more of their songs on their radio stations, which in turn meant they had to say the band's name over and over live on air. What's wrong with that, I hear you saying? Well, the name Pogue Mahone is an anglicisation of the Scottish Gaelic phrase Pog Mafoin, which means kiss my ass. Those who spoke Scottish Gaelic were outraged at having to hear this phrase constantly on the radio, so complained to the BBC about it. This led to the BBC informing the band about these complaints and left them with a decision: keep the rude name but don't get played on the BBC, or change it to get their songs played on the radio. Luckily, we know what option they took. The part of the name they kept is actually the part that roughly translates to Kiss in English, which means we actually have two bands with the name Kiss, though I can't quite imagine you'd find the Pogues in black and white makeup and ridiculous outfits. Hailing from Korea, BTS quickly rose to fame as a worldwide sensation. Before you knew it, these three little words were appearing all over the place. Though, what exactly do they stand for? Well, there seems to be a few ideas. The names is an initialism of the Korean phrase Bangtan Sonyeondan, which translates literally into English to mean Bulletproof Boy Scouts. While that might sound odd at first, this is quite a clever term. Boy Scouts are of course traditionally young, and young people have a lot of expectations and stereotypes put on them. These issues facing young people are seen as bullets that could take you down. Being bulletproof, however, shows the world that you can deflect these issues. It was this overcome of issues that faced the band which inspired the name. More recently, however, the band confirmed that BTS would mean something else too, that being behind the scenes, which is what BTS has stood for historically. This wasn't just a silly corporate rebranding thing. It was supposed to reflect the level of attention bands get these days thanks to things like social media. Now you can see so much more from a band, whether that be what they do on stage or what they get up to behind the scenes. That's just 5 of the 10 band names that are covered in the band section of the original names, words, and everything in between of Volume 2. And beyond them, there are hundreds of other names explained across the pages of these 2 books. So why not order your copies of the original names, words, and everything in between of Volumes 1 and 2 today for yourself or for someone in your life who you think will love them as a gift for the holidays. As mentioned, they are available in most places you buy books from in all major formats, and there'll be links down below. Now excuse me, I have to go think of my own kick-ass band name. Name Explain depends on viewers like yourself supporting the channel financially on Patreon, so a huge thank you to everyone who does. Donating just $1 a month helps the channel amazingly and gets you bonuses including ad-free videos, exclusive content, and the power to request ideas to be made into actual Name Explain videos. $2 a month gets you all that, plus your name here with all these awesome people. Visit patreon.com/nameexplain or click the link down below to find out how you too can support the channel. Thank you. Thanks for reaching the end of the video. Why not watch another and subscribe to keep up to date on all things Name Explain. You can find myself on Instagram where I'm NameExplainYT and join the Facebook group Friends of Name Explain to talk with myself and other name nerds. All that will be linked down below. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and once again, thank you all so much.